Joining us in the studio right now, very proud to have Congressman Jeff Miller. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am doing very well, and I wish you were here on a better occasion, but this is what we have to deal with. I mean, it seems like we have a lot of crosses to bear in our community, be it hurricanes or what have you, but this oil spill is just, to me, catastrophic. I don't know that we're going to be able to actually contain this oil before it hits our shores.
Well, I know that everything that can be done is being done, both at the federal, state, local level, and the volunteers that are out. I know this weekend there were a tremendous amount of volunteers out on the beach. The fact remains is it's one of those things where the sea tides and the winds have a lot to do with where this oil slick goes. It is catastrophic, to say the least. We know that the Gulf Coast states are going to be impacted. We do not know to what extent at this point, but everything that can be done is being done, and I know that we actually are looking worldwide for potential solutions to this disaster.
The president talked yesterday. He was in the Gulf Coast region. I believe he was in Louisiana, and he talked about BP actually footing the whole bill, not just part of the bill, some of the bill, but all of the bill. How can we trust, and I guess that would be a great word, how can we trust that BP is going to be paying for this?
Well, there's no question they're the responsible party, and the White House has made it abundantly clear, I think, to the point that everybody gets that message. The message now is, what are we going to do to mitigate the problems that are confronting the Gulf Coast states along our border with the Gulf waters and other parts. There's even conversation in regards to this going around the East Coast of the state of Florida. So, I think we need to do what we need to do. Then we will make sure that the appropriate parties are held responsible. Again, a lot of people are more concerned with the response, the cleanup, the after effects than they are BP's cleanup responsibilities.
Well, the first thing we got to do is shut that thing off.
Well, and hopefully in a relatively short period of time now, they're going to try that deep sea dome process. Interestingly enough, it's done in shallow waters apparently all the time or whenever necessary, and they've never done one at this depth. But if that works, and that's a big if, it will put us a long way ahead of where we need to be in regards to getting a handle on this disaster.
It is a disaster, but one thing that strikes me that nobody seems to be bringing up, when we had the mining disaster and all those miners that were killed, nobody is bringing up the fact or talking about the fact or the recovery of the fact of those 11 souls that were lost.
Well, and that's something that I think everybody needs to remember is that 11 people were killed the first few days. Certainly they were battling the fire on the rig itself, certainly trying to recover those bodies. And again, I mean, that was a tragic loss for the families of those 11 individuals. But now we are beyond that as far as cleaning up and trying to stop. And again, with the shift of the tides, with the shift of the winds, it's very hard for them to decide where they are going to put the most booms. I know that there's some discussion now about moving some of the pre-positioned booms from east of us towards Pensacola. But again, I mean, the winds and tides could shift again and will. And we just have to be ready anywhere along this coastal region.
The economic impact, of course, is one that we're all going to be looking at. We just got off the phone with Frank Patty from Joe Patty's Seafood. Obviously, that's just a microcosmic view of what might happen from the standpoint of contaminated seafood from that area. Fisher folks, tourism, who knows? Well,
you think about things. This weekend I was at an event in the eastern edge of the district down in Destin, and I was talking with a photographer, and his wife does wedding photography. And interestingly enough, even that business is being impacted because of the brides that come down to have their weddings. They want to go to the beaches, and of course, then you talk about the hotels and the restaurants and all of the what I would call ancillary things that people don't necessarily think about. So the impact is going to be huge on the fishing industry and those that make their living on the water, but it is going to be much broader than that when we are through and we begin to reassess. And that is the unfortunate thing, is this is going to be very, very costly, not only to the environment, but also economically to businesses along the Gulf Coast.
And right now, we have a ban on fishing in federal waters, which is, 9 to 12 miles out, something like that. And as this oil slick continues to come closer to us and our community and our area, they could be shutting down the state waters.
Well, they could. And, everybody is watching. The weather right now has got everybody guessing. You got the fishing industry, obviously. Vacation is beginning for a lot of people coming to this area. I'm leaving here this morning and going to Mobile. I will be doing an aerial tour with Senator Lemieux and also Senator Sessions and Shelby from Alabama, getting an update from the Coast Guard out of Mobile. Again, I think the one of the important things, and I would encourage people to avail themselves to all information that's available out there. I know that all of the media is trying to get information out. We are reworking our website right now to make sure that they can go to house.gov/Jeff Miller if they want to get information, and also be able to link onto other areas to get information as to what's happening, what the plan is, and what they can do.
Are you surprised at the amount of volunteers that want to come and help our community and the folks that are helping to clean, get the trash off the beaches?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all, because so many people come from faraway places to enjoy the white sand beaches of the Gulf Coast, and they've spent spring breaks here. They've brought their families down here. They understand that if there is some small thing that they can do that is magnified by the number of people that are out there participating and volunteering, that it is going to help. It's going to help. A lot of people thought, well, what does cleaning up the beach have anything to do with? Well, certainly it gives the ability, when it's necessary, if the time comes that sand will have to be removed, that it can be done in a more efficient manner, because a lot of that trash has now been removed off of the shoreline.
The Coast Guard is a staging area at Pensacola NAS, and tell me exactly what's going on there, and talk to us about the booms, which really don't seem to be doing much good.
Well, I'm going to be out there this afternoon after I come back from Mobile to have an opportunity to see what's at the staging area. Of course, the Navy have vessels now that have come into our region that will assist the booms that they have, that right now, unfortunately, because of the sea state, are not doing what they are designed to do. But
exactly.
Hopefully, at some point that sea state changes and they will be able. And unfortunately, again, the in situ burning that they started at the very beginning, they did a test and it worked. But then the seas began to rise and they weren't able to collect it the way that they needed to do. So, the resources have been pre-positioned. New Orleans or Louisiana, Mobile, Pensacola, now on east to Panama City. But all the counties in between are also making their preparations, as well as DEP and the state of Florida in regards to the responses. But when you say 18,000 feet of boom, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. When you look at the size of, you're talking about now they're saying Puerto Rico,
4 miles or something,
and again, think about the depth at which this wellhead is at, a mile down, 5,000 feet,
right.
And then the well itself is 18 to 20,000 feet deep below the sand bed. So it is a very, very deep issue. Again, BP is the responsible party. The White House has made that clear, but everybody that can is involved. And again, the locals, the people that have come into this area that are willing to volunteer, is a good thing. And I think anybody that has an opportunity to help, they will be welcomed readily.
Do you think the current administration jumped on this right away? I mean, you hear criticism about this, and I hate to bring this up because it's so political when we should be caring more about cleaning this up rather than at the political.
The time will come for attacks to be made on those individuals or companies, governments that did not respond. I have an opinion, but look, finger pointing isn't going to help anything.
Not right now, no.
Let's wait until this disaster has passed and we know what we are being confronted with, and we will go from there. But I assure you, I have an opinion, and I will let it be known when the appropriate time is.
All right. Well, we all we can do in something that's of this magnitude is basically do the best we can. It is unprecedented, and it's becoming cliche to say that, but how best to deal with something like this, there is no precedent.
Well, the other thing, we're focusing on the fishing and the recreation and the shorelines, but remember, all along we have also been talking about the potential negative impact to the military mission out in the eastern Gulf test ranges.
I heard you talking about that.
And, everybody's, kind of said, well, it won't bother the mission, and technology is such that it should not create a problem, and that is true. But can you imagine right now that if this were a rig that were in the military mission area, basically it would be shut down because of the amount of air traffic, boat traffic that is going on out there. I do also think it's important to point out that while this is a oil rig that collapsed, it is natural gas that we're looking at in the eastern, the far eastern part of the Gulf of Mexico. So again, I mean, there is still a potential negative impact coming towards Eglin that doesn't even have to hit the shores. It can stay far out into the Gulf of Mexico and negatively impact them.
Let me ask you about the oil that is not making it to the surface. That has BP talked about this as of yet? The currents go all the way down, and I would assume that there's oil underneath the surface that is tracking as well.
There has not been a whole lot said because most of, I would assume, and hopefully in the brief today I will be able to learn more about it, that is not migrating the way the surface oil is. Obviously there will be a recovery subsurface, a recovery at the surface, and then there will have to be a recovery and cleanup at the shoreline as well.
What is our U.S. military doing to assist?
Well, there are C-130s that are on standby right now from the Air Force. Unfortunately, the weather and the winds are not allowing them to drop the dispersal agent that they have that will assist. The Navy has skimmers that are in the area, and again, they need a steady sea state to do a lot of this work. So again, pre-positioning and getting ready, hopefully for the weather, to give them a break, to get a handle on what's going on. I do know that coastal environmentalists are fanned out all up and down the Gulf Coast, especially in Louisiana and the marsh areas, and looking at where the sheen has already come ashore. Again, I mean, that's just the first front of what they are going to have to be confronted with.
Have you had an opportunity yet to get out to the Gulf and see this?
Well, that's what I'm doing as I leave here. I'm going by the Scambia Emergency Operations Center, and then I'm going to Mobile to get on a helicopter, and we will be doing a couple hours worth of flyover this afternoon, or actually I think we lift off around noon, going over there to get a first-hand look from the air as to what the spill is doing right now.
There are so many different technologies that I would love to talk to you about. Especially, are there any new technologies other than putting this dispersant on it that you know of that anybody knows that BP has any plan for?
Well, hopefully they are looking worldwide, and when I say worldwide, specifically to the Gulf states in the Middle East, because they are very accustomed to dealing with issues not necessarily at the depth that we are talking about, this deep water drilling, but the in situ burning and all of that is going on. But hopefully later on today we'll have an opportunity to hear of any new avenues that are out there. And I would welcome the opportunity to come back and visit with you about this issue.
All right. Congressman Jeff Miller, thanks very much. I know you got to get on off to this news conference that's going on momentarily. We look forward to having you back, and we look forward to having you all, continue to listen to Good Morning Pensacola here on News Talk 1370 WCOA.